I would like to invite my colleagues Olaf, Dirk, and Achim. And we're going to have a discussion about business and sustainability and ClimaTech and how you can do good for the planet and for all the beings, not just human beings, and still make money while doing it. So, Olaf, if you can grab the microphone, please. Each of us, we're going to be starting out with a 1 minute short intro, who you are and what makes you tick.
Yeah, well, hello again. My name is Olaf. I'm one of the partners at Sintenes. We are a FoodTech fund based in Berlin, Germany. We solely invest into food solutions, which means all protein, functional food, food loss prevention, and clean nutrition. Why am I doing that? Prior to doing that, I was 11 years at a company called Metro, unfortunately not present in Israel, but in many other countries. I did run that company for 9 years as a CEO, and I could witness the change in demand. I could see that consumers were changing preferences quite quickly, but I could also witness that the sustainability footprint of the industry was not acceptable, and the same thing was true for the health profile of the products on shelf. So we at Metro, we pushed it quite hard. We pushed the envelope, and after 9 years of being CEO, I made a choice in saying I want to make a different impact by helping young companies and young entrepreneurs in making a change for good in the food system.
Excellent, thanks a lot.
Yeah, good morning from my side. My name is Dirk Romhorst. I'm the CEO of Evonik. Most of you might only know Evonik from Borussia Dortmund, currently leading the German Football League. But besides this, we are the second largest German chemical manufacturer, very much focused on special chemicals. I'm responsible for IT. And I personally believe that a modern IT plays an important role in order to overcome some challenges in the aspect of sustainability. And I'm not talking about sustainability in IT, so green IT. I'm really talking about leveraging with modern technologies the challenges that we see in the industry in order to be part of the solution rather than the problem. And before I joined Evonik about a year ago, I was with Wacker Chemie and BASF, so I have a long tail in the chemical industry, and it's really about making things happen, and I'm very happy to be here.
Making things happen is the key word. My name is Achim Hartig. I'm working with Germany Trade and Invest. I'm the managing director over there, and what we do is we make things happen. We make things happen for foreign companies in Germany. We're a governmental organization, and we're absolutely aligned with the green policies of the German government. That means investors we attract to come to Germany, setting up shop over there. They're absolutely doing sustainable business, complying with the UN sustainability goals, also helping the German company to become more resilient. And that's what we do with our team.
So thank you very much. So I'm Thomas. I'm one of the co-founders of the Creative Technology Labs in Switzerland. Doesn't need to mean anything to you. Why am I doing this? Actually, it's quite simple. Tikkun Olam. And I'm very serious about that. And so I'm working on projects in two different directions. One of them is human beings. How do we treat each other in a nicer way? And the second one is, okay, how don't we continue to completely mess up the planet so that the next generations will also have a nice place to live? And that's why I was very much looking forward to a panel in this stage, especially also with so many diverse industries covering. So Achim, I would like to start with you. I mean, Germany, we know it's Mittelstand, it's so small to medium-sized companies. Funnily, if you look at small and medium companies in Germany, that's a huge company in Switzerland and also in Austria. So what are some of the main topics where you see, okay, there is a technological need from Israel and from other places to support these companies to become more sustainable?
Well, thank you, Thomas. First of all, what is driving this? What is driving the market? These are more than 3.5 million small and medium-sized enterprises in Germany. Already, the pure size of the market is something where you think, okay, there might be a connection. There might be a connection for almost all business models over there. But what is more important? We have to become carbon neutral, and we have to become carbon neutral by 2025. That means every year Germany creates a carbon footprint of about 170 million tons. And that has to go away. And since the small and medium-sized companies are the main drivers of the industry, creating more than 99% of the gross domestic product in Germany, they are also one of the main producers of carbon dioxide. And within their production processes is one of the main points to address to make the German companies more carbon neutral. What does it mean precisely? 30% of the German Mittelstand is production and manufacturing driven. That means there we have two main drivers to become more carbon neutral. One is we need to be more innovative in terms of how we create products and services, and the other thing is we have to become more. We have to raise our process excellence. And this is where Israeli startups and Israeli companies come into place, because what they are more innovative. They can drive the process excellence of German companies forward. Being it, for example, in the supply chain, where automated and artificial intelligence-driven processes facilitate predictive manufacturing, predictive maintenance, and also creating closer loops to the suppliers, finding easier products and substitutes for products, which would normally be a manual job or maybe inefficiently distributed across a variety of steps in the value chains. If it comes to recycling, for example, we heard already today that there's a clothes recycling, fashion recycling is a huge business coming up in Germany. In a niche market where Israeli companies could start either in a mechanical way, in a process-driven way, or with the underlying software how to do this in an efficient way. Recycling is a large market in Germany in general, and every company producing goods, they will have to think about how they recycle their products. So, for example, in the next years, more than 11,000 of these windmills creating power will have to be recycled. And this will be done by companies in a variety of different steps in the value chain. Here, process optimization is key. And process optimization very often narrows down to basic models of artificial intelligence, basic models of algorithms, how to organize steps in the value chain. I know that Israeli companies are very strong in that. And we can go through a variety of industries and energy production, also in the main industries like car manufacturing or battery production in Germany, which is growing, and hydrogen production as well, where we need software, where we need security of software as well to become carbon neutral in a short time.
So thank you, Dirk. Plastic is a huge topic for you. And I mean, recycling and circular is one thing. Is there also an angle how to use less?
I mean, there's a good reason that we have so much plastic somewhere. In replacement of bottles by glass, by plastic, was in order to reduce the weight of the load that is carried out, etc. But unfortunately, it only works when the circular is closed. Therefore, this is a big topic for us. And like Achim just said, recycling, in other words, circular is key in order to close this loop. And this is also a big issue for us. So on the one hand side, really making sure that this loop is closed. On the other side, of course, making plastics that is, for example, biodegradable, so that you have other products that not last as long as the people see from the past or other things. And so this is important. And here again, it's about thinking out of the box. It's not about just improving existing processes, but really radical change the processes and the products and the composition of the products in order to fill the gap. And like I said, it's being part of the solution rather than being the origin of the problem.
And how can the Israeli friends in the room be part of the solution for you?
Yeah, like I said, thinking out of the box, being used to work with scarcity of resources. I mean, for example, here in Tel Aviv, I learned and I know that there's no natural spring of water. So using water as a scarce resource is also something that gives you guidance in the way of thinking. And this is where we can learn from. And we learned it also during the last year when somehow gas became a scarce resource in terms of the sources that have been used, like using power from the plug in the past. And somehow it was possible, for example, in our environment to reduce the consumption, the use of natural gas for our production by more than 40% within months. So this kind of radical rethinking by an impulse from outside, this was what happened last year with the gas, but this we can now orchestrate in an organized manner in order to get this impulse, in order to start different thinking.
Thank you very much. So, Olaf, when I look at your VC's portfolio, I see a lot of plant-based products and a lot of plant-based startups. And I saw your very passionate presentation about resource orientation. What was for you the key moment where you decided, what was the impulse that you're going to go away from big corporate and be the transformation yourself?
I think the spark for me has been somewhere around 2016 when I first time saw plant-based products really hitting the nail on taste. And Beyond and Impossible have been pioneers with that. Until then, I mean, you already had a lot of vegetarians and vegan people, and we have tofu, we have seitan, we have horchata, we have all of these things that exist for hundreds of years, but a lot of people would not move into plant-based because they love the delicious taste of meat. So when this was becoming possible, you saw skyrocketing sales of some of those innovations. But it also became apparent that that's not going to be the trick, because some of the recipes are actually not that good. Lots of salt, you have other stuff in there that you actually don't want to eat. So you have a spree of innovations, particularly here in Israel. A lot of great companies pioneering the food tech change. And the beauty about this is a plant-based product needs about 95% less water, about 95% less land. It has almost no CO2 emissions. And that sounds great, doesn't it? Well, listen to this. If you take mycelium, which is the mushroom, and you fermentate the root of the mushroom, you will get an even better protein at 90% less water compared to plant-based. And eventually, you can scale that in an industrial term with fermentators and bioreactors that you could install in such a building. And you could produce protein at almost zero footprint. And that's what we need. If we want to mitigate the 1.5 degrees in climate change, we cannot do that without a change in the food system. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Because while you do that, you can generate great experience for consumers, you can do something good for the environment, but you can create a lot of value. So plant-based protein was the pioneer. All protein is forecasted to be around 65 billion somewhere in 2025. That's going to be just a very small fraction of the market. So take that by 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, and that's the value that's going to be created.
So if we look a little bit further in the future than 2025 or tomorrow, what is your vision for the next 10 years? How is your industry going to be looking, and what kind of effect will it have on our resource consumption?
Well, I could say it starts with you, or with you. I mean, it's your consumer habit that will drive the change. It's not going to be the government. It's not going to be the investor. It's not going to be anyone else. It's going to be you. And the good news is that change is progressing exponentially. So the demand for healthier and more sustainable products is going through the roof. Good news for retailers, you can charge a premium. Because right now it's more the affluent consumer that actually wants to buy this. So you can create a good margin. Now, while you scale it, cost comes down, you can reach the population. So I'm not a prophet. I cannot predict 2025. What I can tell you is this is irreversible, and it's going to be huge. And I talked about this. It's an 8 trillion industry. Let's expect that it's going to be significantly more by 2025 and way more by 2030.
So a lot of opportunity for a lot of startups and ideas that really going to change the industry, right?
It's for startups, but also for the incumbents. So if you are a food operator, a food producer, you can take advantage of the cohort of innovators coming to the market. You can help them, you can scale them. And if you're an entrepreneur, you should not be afraid of them, because they can become your partner in the industry to scale it eventually to exit your startup and do the trick again in another field.
So Achim, where is the change that you're seeing in the German companies, and what are the opportunities there?
I think currently being sustainable is a USP for many companies. It's not really a necessity, but it will become a necessity and an integral part of the business model. And there will be many companies who will understand this until 2025, what you're asking me, and they will need exactly the support you might offer with out-of-the-box thinking, with innovation, which we heard, with reducing carbon footprints in a variety of industries. So in 2025, we will already have reduced by several million tons per year the carbon footprint, and it's with the help of the consumers and the Mittelstand of Germany which will do that.
And your industry, Dirk? So where is the trajectory heading now?
Yeah, as I said before, so on the one hand side is the consumption of natural resources in order to produce what we have produced. But on the other side is also to make our products more sustainable in the way we compose them. This is definitely a trend for the whole industry, and really work with those things that have been produced in the past in order to recycle them. Like Achim said in the beginning, this is a major aim. So really close the loop.
For example, are you also like experimenting with like oil-eating bacteria and stuff like that for the waste reduction, or?
For example, yes, of course. As I said, we are a special chemical companies. We are not building this kind of big bulk chemical thing. We're very looking into the niches. Also, nutrition and care is one of our divisions. So this is really something we look into, how we can also supply, let's say, the food that is needed in order to, let's say, to survive as a species. But also, of course, in other areas. I mean, there are also many other areas, especially in the health area, where we can make really a difference compared to paths that have been walked along in the past.
Thank you. So, questions from the audience?
We're all available here on the campus.
Exactly.
So then, tough question to all of you to round this up. The 1.5 degrees, is it realistic that we gonna cap it, or what do you think? Olaf?
It absolutely is. I think it needs decisiveness. I think we need to move away from being diplomatically correct and saying the right things on stage and then not actually taking the action. I think we see a lot of action now on transportation, on mobility, on energy. I wish that we will see more engagement on the food sector for obvious reasons. And I can definitely see that. So, and the good news about the food system is the food industry has done a fantastic job in supplying high quality food at low prices to as many people as never before. That's a huge achievement. Now let's get to the better version. The industry can. They have the power, they have the distribution reach, the technology is there, the innovation is there, it's going to happen.
I agree, and there's a must. It's the only way to have. And the important thing for all of us is that there's no area that we should exclude from this perspective. You mentioned fashion. 10% of the global CO2 creation goes back to fashion, and the fact that we each and every year need a new whatever logo on our shirts, etc. So this is a big issue where we, as a consumer, can also start making a difference.
Well, exactly. 2 mics. We take our pride in really burning for the fact of helping companies becoming more sustainable. And what we do is all our business models, when we attract investors, when we talk to foreign companies, all my team colleagues, they promote the aspect of becoming sustainable and helping German companies becoming sustainable. So 1.5 degrees, my hope is yes.
Hope or believe?
Well, it depends on us, and I myself, I'm burning for this. I really believe it. I really believe in that, and all my colleagues, we are working for that.
Okay, sorry for putting you on the spot. For me, it's
No
like
worries.
for me it changes like on a daily base, where I'm like, yeah, we can totally make it, and then something happens, and I'm like, okay, no, we're not gonna make it. But talking to you, I mean, I can see that there is a lot of good things going on, and I mean, what you also prove is that there is a business model. I mean, it's not just doing good and then people will shake your hand and pet your heads, but it's also there is money there. So, gentlemen, thank you very much, and also to some uncomfortable questions. And so we're here all day, so please talk to the three gentlemen. Thank you.